Oh, welcome to the That's Good Broncos podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Perna. This is the only podcast where the host does not ask his co-host, Will Keys, how he's even doing before the episode starts. Just get right to business, Will. I don't care about your personal life. Sorry. This is, I've got a work ethic, and like Russell Wilson, no days off. Always cooking. Let's ride. Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, to quote Bill Belichick, no days off. No days off. That was the worst chant of all time.
Do your job. No days off. Like, Belichick is
Show up to work on time. Be respectful to your employers.
Respect your boss. Always work.
Tip your landlord.
Belichick really kind of missed his calling, I think. And that's crazy to say for a head coach who's won 6 Super Bowls, 8 Super Bowls total. But I feel like he should have been born in the 20s, running a factory where children were still allowed to work for adults.
No, I'm sure like one of his relatives ran the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory that caught on fire. That was almost definitely a Belichick, I'm sure.
We want wages so we can eat. Fuck you and your kids working now too. You're gonna talk back to me again? Do your job, no days off, and then I reap all the rewards.
Yeah, what do you want next? Bathroom breaks? Nice try, pal.
Not here.
Not in this factory.
Belichick. The funniest thing I saw on Twitter was Belichick on the hot seat with a quote around Robert Kraft being disappointed the Patriots haven't won a playoff game in 3 years. Yeah. That's what happens when you choose your head coach over your quarterback. And God knows, I think Bill Belichick is the best coach to do it. But it ain't an easy transition. So suck it, Pats fans. This is a Denver Broncos podcast brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR. When you sign up over at DraftKings and you're placing your bets, just put in DNVR and you know what? You'll be taken care of. Also, my coffee company, benchwarmerbrew.com. We got really, really good coffee, craft coffee, which means it is better than normal coffee, which is why it costs more than normal coffee.
Not Robert Kraft coffee, though. Regular coffee.
No, regular. Yeah.
Kraft with a C.
Yeah.
Not
although our coffee, like, if you want to drink it while going to a brothel, pairs well with paid sex. No. Okay, no, too far. What are we gonna? All right, so there's not a lot happening.
No, definitely not.
It is like we just got slammed by a fucking hurricane of NFL news and trades, and it was good for the Broncos. It was very good for the Broncos, but now, like, we're just kind of cleaning up the mess. Everybody's kind of forgotten about us. All the trades are hurricane's a bad analogy. God damn.
I would say no, I think hurricane's good. Maybe an avalanche.
Colorado
Yes. Avalanche.
But there's some things I wanted to talk about. Russell Wilson, because we're probably going to talk about him every week and for the rest of our lives. I plan on not living that long. I think we had some interesting Broncos who could be back. Denver campaigning for the London game, and there were some changes to the overtime rules, which we kind of saw coming. But before the pod started, I asked Will, when was the last Broncos overtime game? And Will's memory correctly remembered 2016 against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
In a game that Denver lost by 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the change to the overtime rules would have affected that game. But the reason I wanted to know was to kind of think about the last time the Broncos could have been impacted by this new change. And I think the last one was the first year when they changed the overtime rules, where they had the walk-off touchdown to Demaryius Thomas, which now the Steelers would have gotten a chance to answer in that game. So
they're not scoring a touchdown after that. Not a chance.
Not. That's a momentum killer. But so the new overtime rule, just to clarify, both teams get a possession. So if the first team scores a touchdown, the other team gets a chance to score a touchdown. If both teams score a touchdown, then the next team to score wins. The team who kicks the ball off, if they get a safety, game's over. So that's an interesting caveat. I don't foresee that happening, but yeah, like if you're in overtime and you get a safe, like one of the hardest ways to score, and you do it on the opening drive in the playoffs, that makes sense. So really, we haven't as Broncos fans, we haven't had a recent memory of when this would have impacted the team significantly. And it's hard to recall because so many of their games for the last 5 years have been meaningless. But you said this, Russell Wilson might be a fan of this new rule, or not?
I don't know. I think generally when you have a good quarterback, you just want your guy to get a shot in overtime.
Yeah.
And I think so. This is good for the Broncos because it doesn't become a coin toss game. And if it's, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson in overtime, you feel good even if the Chiefs score first, for example. You feel like they can answer. But yeah, no, this was big in Russell Wilson's career. You go back to 2014, they come all the way back against the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game. Onside kick, fake field goal, etc. And then Aaron Rodgers ties the game at the end, but Aaron Rodgers never touches the ball in overtime. Russell Wilson throws a rainbow to Jermaine Kearse to end the game on the first possession of OT and go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, classic Aaron Rodgers choking in the playoffs after he leads a game tying drive. And then he fucking chokes, idiot, because he didn't get a possession.
But imagine that game if Aaron Rodgers got to touch the ball again.
I know.
What happens there?
I don't know.
I don't think
they scored a touchdown.
Anything. I don't think so.
It was that game's. I mean, the Seahawks defense was crazy good, right? Like they were emerging as the Legion of Boom. So
the other game too that people don't talk about, they talk about the 2018 AFC Championship game where the Chiefs didn't get to touch the ball. Talk about the game last year, the Bills didn't get to touch the ball on offense. The obvious one is Super Bowl 51. The Patriots win the coin toss and they march right down the field and win on a James White touchdown that wasn't even clearly a touchdown. If you want to go back and rewatch that.
Wow.
What happens if the Falcons get the ball one more time?
Yeah. Maybe they score a touchdown.
Maybe they get a chance to collect themselves and with a little more urgency, go down the field and score. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably
if the rules are the way they are, do the Patriots elect to kick off in that situation? Because
that's another wrinkle.
I think a very confident team, especially a team that has, an offense with a quarterback you trust, also with the defense that really, after a bad first half, kind of owned the second half of that game, played really well. So you've got momentum on your defense. Mm-hmm. So if you kick off, you think there's a good chance we get a stop. Or if you give up a field goal, you only need a field goal to hang in the game. But you also, I think it's kind of like a mind game of it benefits the team playing better in the fourth quarter that, probably came back to get the tie game. So
yeah.
It would be interesting to see what the Patriots do there.
You can also think about like if your offense has been on the field like the Patriots had been for the Patriots took 90 snaps on offense, over 90 snaps in that game, which
Damn.
is the usual number of snaps for any given offense is about 60. So they did 150% of the normal amount of snaps in that game. So that Falcons defense was exhausted. So that's something to consider too. So maybe you can get the stop on defense, but maybe the other team's defense is so tired that, it becomes easier to go down and get a score, which I think it probably was in that Bills-Chiefs game. Both defenses, I think, were thoroughly, thoroughly exhausted.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting. I think, and this overtime rule, though, it only applies to the playoffs. So,
yeah,
I don't know if I talked about
which is good.
You or with Grossi. It all runs together at this point because I do so many stupid shows every week. But that's what I wanted to see. What's that?
I said they are stupid. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, totally. The fact that people watch or listen to any of this it's
a scam.
Yeah, I am the world's best sports scam artist. Mm-hmm. I'm like the Bernie Madoff of sports YouTubers. And the person I am ripping off the most is Will Keys.
Yeah, right behind you, the listener.
Yeah, of course.
You looking into the camera. You.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to see this for the regular season. The last thing I think we need are for regular season games to go on longer. And honestly, I would have preferred if the regular season games went back to the original overtime format where whoever scores first wins.
Oh, no. I hated that. That was awful. That was so bad.
I didn't like this change. And then
man.
Every change I don't like, though, benefits the Broncos. So the overtime thing, didn't like it, but then they got the DT walk-off. Boom. Then the
extra point rule.
Extra point getting pushed back. Patriots.
Gostkowski misses.
Oh, man. He was so good. And like after that, I feel like he went downhill.
Yeah,
I think that was
especially that Monday night game against the Titans where he missed like 4 field goals and then kicked the game winner.
Oh, yeah.
God. Frustrating as hell.
Who's the Patriots kicker now? Nick Folk?
Nick Folk, yeah.
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 I love Brandon McManus, but after doing our draft names episode, I really, really hope the Broncos draft Connor Assalley.
Yeah, I haven't looked up how to pronounce it. To be honest, I don't care. It is Assalley.
Probably something like Assalley, but it is Assalley, 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure like the TV broadcast tries to play it off as like Assalley. Assalley. But it's not. It's Assalley.
I mean, Cameron Dicker's in there too. Dicker the kicker is so good.
No,
and he's a lot better than Assalley.
He is. Although Assalley played Texas a couple of years ago. It was Iowa State, Texas, and Assalley drilled the game-winning field goal against Dicker the kicker. So they had some good battles there in the Big 12.
Yeah, but I was looking at Assalley's stats, and they were not impressive.
No, not really.
Until this last season, but he only attempted 4 field goals.
He must have been hurt.
Yeah, he must have gotten hurt. And then if you look at his other years, he really struggled for any sort of long distance kick, and his percentage was not great.
Are we sure that he is a draft prospect and not just a guy who's run out of college eligibility?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
If your name is Assalley, you get on the list.
Good God, he was at Iowa State for 6 years. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, those are called doctors.
Yeah, really.
All right.
Get his PhD while he's there.
Here's what I wanted to discuss with Russell Wilson. Because there's dumb controversy about Jerry Jeudy not being It's not, I don't even want to call it a passing camp. It was just receivers went to Russell Wilson's house. We talked about it in the last podcast, talked about how it was cool just to watch him, throw the ball around, play, whatever. Just a meet. You get to know your new quarterback. You throw like the throwing the ball. I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit that they accomplished there. But anyway, Jerry Jeudy caught a lot of flack on Twitter for it because he wasn't there. And people just started talking shit to him for no reason because people have, I guess, nothing better to do. And I'm somebody who spends a lot of time on Twitter and I justify it as work. And I say a lot of stupid shit on there. But I don't go attacking guys for dumb shit like that. Anyway, it's a new era in Broncos country, though, because our quarterback is a GD leader. This is a guy who brings Jerry Jeudy in, and late last night or early this morning posted to Twitter video of him throwing balls to Jerry Jeudy. Probably saw the flag Jerry Jeudy took, made sure he got Jerry Jeudy to his house, posted a video of them working together so people would shut the fuck up about Jerry Jeudy. And that, I think, is actually pretty awesome of Russell Wilson to do. I was like, damn, he's doing Jerry a huge solid. I know it's not a big deal for Russell to do that. Also, he had his adorable kid in there yelling touchdown Broncos when Jerry Jeudy was catching the passes, really getting me hyped up for the season. But like, that's the difference between having a guy like Russell Wilson and a guy like, I don't know, Case Keenum or Trevor Siemian, fucking Joe Flacco, who was never going to mentor anybody or interact with the fans at all. Like, it's just nice to have a guy you're like, he's all in on every aspect of being a quarterback, being the face of the franchise. And I liked the move. I liked the move this morning. Yeah,
it was good to shut people up because you're right. I don't know if they don't have better things to do or there's just some deep pain and regret in their life and they have to take it out on millionaires, the poor millionaires. But another thing is they were practicing at dusk and the visibility was pretty low and people were commenting on that. But I think my take on that is you should be practicing in dusk or possibly in complete darkness because that's where you hone your timing.
Yeah.
Like if you can catch a pass in, pitch black, then imagine doing it in, at 2:00 Mountain Time. Easy.
Yeah. With the sun in your eyes.
With the sun.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball, right? It's the same philosophy.
Exactly.
It's why Riddick from the Chronicles of Riddick was so good. Wait, or could he see in the dark and nobody else could? What was his thing?
It's been a while since I've checked in on the Riddick movies.
Yeah, I feel like he couldn't see, but his other senses were, I can't remember.
Maybe it's like the movie Don't Breathe, where the guy, his house gets broken into and he's blind and he's a Vietnam veteran and he can't see anybody, but he has expert hearing, probably smell and taste as well. So he tastes the burglars and
the bad
kills
guy.
them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good movie. If you need
Is it nominated for an Oscar?
No, of course not. But what does that mean these days anyway?
Yeah, I watched it. I was watching part of it, and then Jess put it on her iPad because I wanted to. What the hell did I put on? I've been watching this Metallica documentary, but I don't think that's what I was watching.
Okay.
And the Metallica documentary is not even that good. It's like really long but it's like interesting. It's about like when they were putting together their album Saint Anger. And I never even fucking listened to really Metallica growing up. I just like watching documentaries about music.
Sure.
And anyway, like the band's going through some shit, so it's kind of interesting. But she had the iPad on, and I was like, man, just like I watched Power of the Dog, and I liked that movie, and I liked it before I knew it was going to be nominated. I know a lot of people will not like that movie. That's fine. But I was like, these other movies, and I haven't seen Coda yet, and I'm sure I will like Coda. I'm sure it's a good
I just got Apple TV, so I'm going to watch Coda too.
But like none of the other movies excited me. And like if you're watching the Oscars, it's like watching sports in that you want to have a couple movies that you're rooting for, right?
Sure.
And if you feel like you don't really care like who wins, then it doesn't feel like it's a good show. Now, some people criticize, the hosts or whatever. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. I just want to watch for the movies that I want to win. So that's kind of taken away. But the point was, then shit just went off the rails when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face. That came out of nowhere. And then like everybody was drawn to it. And then Twitter blew up and it turned into a big fun thing. I don't know where I was going with that. We were just talking about movies and referencing him to Russell Wilson. So
I can tie it back together.
Do it.
I had a kind of a stray thought that I don't know who would play who, but if we were going to do a movie about, or let's just say, for some reason they decided to reboot The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which they would never do.
Right.
But I think Russell Wilson would make a good Carlton.
Oh, 100%.
He'd make a little bit of a Carlton.
Oh, he's totally Carlton.
He's kind of got Carlton energy.
Yeah. And he crushed it in Seattle as Carlton. Now he's in Denver and he's hosting America's Funniest Videos.
I don't know what that says about this stage of his career. But let's roll with it. Carlton, he should
Carlton of QBs.
Next time he scores, he should do the Carlton in the end zone.
Oh my God, he would be so perfect.
They should play, the Tom Jones song. It's not unusual.
Yeah. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. The one weird thing I noticed about the Russell Wilson Jerry Jeudy video, like. There's a part in the video where like Russ is like saying all this stuff. Like I think maybe he's doing like formation calls or something. Mm-hmm. But there's a good stretch there where he's just like telling Jerry Jeudy a bunch of shit and you think they're going to throw a pass, but they just keep kind of moving along the line. And I'm like, man, Russell's making him practice maybe like what routes and coverages he should be like prepared for based on what Russ is saying. Like maybe this is awesome or maybe this is nonsense. I just don't know at this point.
I'm just excited to have a quarterback that understands how and when to audible again. Yeah. I don't think anybody's audibled correctly on the Broncos since 2015.
No.
Like, remember Brock Osweiler audibled into that C.J. Anderson touchdown against the Patriots. And then, Manning audibled like into run plays the rest of the postseason just so he didn't get sacked. And that's the last time I think a Broncos quarterback has changed the play at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Really, Brock Osweiler's benching in that Chargers game, probably one of the most like unfair benchings.
It totally was.
Because the Broncos had like 4 turnovers in that game. And
none of them were really his fault.
Yeah. Like Emmanuel Sanders catches like a 40-yard bomb that Osweiler drops a dime, and then he just fumbles. I think there was like another fumble, maybe a pick that was tipped. Mm-hmm. And then Manning came in and the game turned around because Manning did just audible into run after run and they gashed the Chargers and got the win. So
it was both completely unfair and like
the right move.
Completely the right call.
That's maybe
it's strange how that works.
Yeah, that might be Gary Kubiak's greatest feat in his NFL career, making that decision in that game at that moment.
Yeah, the decision to bench Brock Osweiler and the decision not to bench Trevor Siemian for Paxton Lynch a year later.
Yeah,
because Paxton Lynch probably would have blown that game against the Raiders in Week 17 with like a 20-point lead.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing. Great coach.
I miss Coobs. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I don't miss? Because it's always here for me. DraftKings.
Because it controls my life.
DraftKings Sportsbook. Can't miss it if it never leaves you. College b-ball fans, join the action on the court during the biggest tournament of the year with DraftKings Sportsbook. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. I was reading that weird because I was trying to hold in a burp. Just full transparency. It is that simple. If they win, you win. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on college hoops with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Try to be a spider. You want 8 legs? Yes, you do. DraftKings is safe, secure, reliable, and best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your money whenever the hell you want. Even when Will is ignoring you because you're talking about DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR. That's our show hosted through DNVR. So DNVR, that's what you want to do. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Got to be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Minimum $5 deposit. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Well, we were talking about audibles and audibling to the run.
Audible.com is the best way to listen to your favorite audiobooks now.
Yeah. Audible sponsored my show before. It's a sponsorship I really liked. And honestly, I've had Audible ever since that sponsorship. And now I'm thinking I'm giving Audible more money than I got from the sponsorships. But
but think about the knowledge that you've absorbed.
Oh my God, I've listened to so many fiction books that have helped me know things about the world.
Dune. I know so much about the spice trades.
Dune's a hard listen. Yeah,
Dune's a hard everything, dude. Except for it's not a hard watch, but hard read.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, I mean, Dune, Timothée Chalamet showing up to the Oscars with no shirt under
his shirt on, man.
Oh, my wife loved that shit. She loved that.
That's concerning.
I think Timothée Chalamet is her biggest celebrity crush.
Well, that's interesting because he's basically hairless, and you're one of the hairier people. On Earth.
On Earth.
Yeah. People, not mammals, but human beings for sure.
Yeah. But I'm fine with it. I think some guys get jealous if their partner is into a celebrity. I'm like, hey, if we got to put on
you'd rather
Chalamet movies to put you in the mood, I get to watch a good film and then get lucky. Pretty much a win-win. What movie have you been in that's bad?
No, you could toss on Call Me By Your Name and you don't feel threatened by it. And then, like you said, something good comes out of it. Also, it's a good strategy because that deep down, if it ever came to it, you could probably kill Timothée Chalamet with your bare hands. Yeah. You could do that.
I mean, he probably got a little training for Dune, but yeah.
What's he going to do? Use his mind tricks on you? Use the voice? That's not real.
Maybe.
That's all they trained him to do. Have you ever seen the movie The King with Timothée Chalamet and Robert Pattinson? Really good movie. The only flaw about that movie is Timothée Chalamet himself as an expert swordsman. Yeah, that sword weighs more than him.
Yeah.
My only problem with it.
But in the fight scene when Robert Pattinson just falls in the mud and can't get up,
it's so
good. So good.
Yeah, check out that movie if you haven't.
Yeah. All right. Kareem Jackson, Melvin Gordon, Bryce Callahan, still free agents, still possibilities that they come back. Melvin Gordon's interesting. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is the run game for the Broncos. One thing that's obvious and easy to say is with Russell Wilson there, teams are going to have to respect the threat of the pass, which will help the run game. So I already think the run game is going to be more effective. And last season, we thought the strength of the offense was running the football. Problem was, there's, if people want to knock Javonte Williams, there's a lot of short yard runs or loss, a couple of yard losses because they just got stuffed. Now, some people think that's partly Javonte Williams' vision. I think it's also defense just wasn't scared a throw was coming their way. So part of that's mitigated by Russell Wilson arriving. The other thing I've seen and read and whatever, I don't even know where I find information anymore. I just put it in the brain like, let's talk to Will about that. Was that Dalton Reisner's rookie year was very good, right? And they were running, was it like the stretch zone? What the fuck are they going to run this year?
Yeah, it was
outside
a zone
zone
blocking as part of the West Coast offense.
Yeah, so they had Rich Scangarello calling plays that season. Drew Lock was playing the best football we watched him play.
Yeah.
And Dalton Reisner played very well. And then the last 2 seasons hasn't been quite as good at the guard position. And some people are saying that by switching back to this, it's more suited to Dalton Reisner's skill set and that he will be better. And I think the offensive line as a whole, because they signed Billy Turner, there's like 5 guys that are going to compete for right tackle. And it's not the most interesting thing to talk about, but it's a very important thing to talk about. So 1, do you think Dalton Reisner will play better with Russell Wilson and with, how they're going to execute their runs? And 2, do you think they should bring Melvin Gordon back, or do they look for a running back they can grab maybe middle of the draft? Because I ask about Gordon just because, like, if you think the line's going to be better, he's a proven, very good back to have. It's just a question of money, but you think maybe there's a bigger upside for Melvin Gordon if the line is playing even better, because he's the type of guy who I think is going to be savvy enough to instantly know how to exploit having better blocking in front of him. So that's kind of what you're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, you can say too, and I think Reisner will play better because he has to. Because if not,
fair enough,
he's got 2 guards in Netane Muti and Quinn Miners who are going to take that spot. And
if he does,
you got Graham Glasgow too, and he can play guard. And so there's going to be a ton of competition there. So he's got to play better, or else, he's not going to play at all, basically, because they have options. And yeah, as far as Gordon goes, it obviously does come down to the price tag. Although, once you get your quarterback, you want to be all in. And why, if you have the money, why skimp on, any position? Because Javonte Williams can get injured. Mike Boone can get injured. And Melvin Gordon he brings things to the table that Javonte Williams doesn't. I don't think. Like, Melvin Gordon's a home run hitter. And Javonte Williams, very good. He can run for big gains, but I think if you need a 60-yard touchdown twice a year, Melvin Gordon's probably that guy. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a smart guy. He has a nose for the end zone, which I think is a skill too. Like when you're in the red zone and things are compressed, just kind of knowing how to work your way over the goal line is something you learn. And Melvin Gordon's definitely learned that because he scored 0 touchdowns his rookie year and has been a touchdown machine ever since. So I think, if the price drops a little bit, and you don't know how it's going to work because we're kind of in this dead period of free agency where there's still some guys left who haven't signed. Like there's Tyrann Mathieu and Jadeveon Clowney and all these big names, Melvin Gordon, Bobby Wagner, where it's kind of an impasse where teams are like, you know what, the first and second wave of free agency have passed and you're still asking for too much money, and we've got the draft coming up. Once the draft happens, if you don't get your guy, then I think that market's going to open back up again. So they're going to look at the draft first, I think. And I don't think Gordon's going to get signed until after then. And he could alternatively wait until training camp and wait until, a team gets – like the Baltimore Ravens had how many running backs got hurt in training camp last year?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
They lost their 1 and 2 backs. I know that for sure.
So, how much money does Melvin Gordon make if he's a free agent last year and gets to sign with the Ravens in that situation? So that's interesting. I mean,
hell, it could have been the Ravens. It could have been the Rams who signed him when Cam Akers got hurt.
Yeah. So that's these things are all about timing. And I think as a player, if I didn't sign in those first 2 waves of free agency, I'm waiting as long as I can before the season to build leverage the most in your favor.
And you're setting up booby traps around guys who play your position
Correct.
in other cities' homes.
Yeah, if I'm Melvin Gordon, I'm just going to all these different NFL cities and just eating bananas and laying banana peels outside of players' houses.
I'm putting the banana peel right in front of a hidden bear trap. Just to oh, he flipped and he got bear trapped. And then a freaking beehive falls on him too, just for good measure.
Yeah, maybe even a hornet's nest. Who knows?
Oops, sorry, Leonard Fournette. It looks like I'm going to go play for the Buccaneers now.
Yeah, it's a strategy.
Yeah, a good one. Mm-hmm. Very good one.
Yeah. He'll sign it's a luxury is the thing.
Here's the other thing I wanted to ask. It is a luxury. Yeah.
But if you can afford a luxury, then why not?
Yeah. It's why rich people have 2 yachts instead of 1. I can fucking afford both. So suck it.
We know you can.
Go back and that's Belichick. Get back in my kid factory. Yeah, I'm gonna get another boat. I think he only has 1. He's not excessive like that. Okay. Gordon, with your running backs, you basically have the veteran experience, a young and upcoming back with Javonte Williams, and then Mike Boone, kind of the X factor unknown, but you think there's a lot of potential there. That's a good backfield to have. But running backs are very replaceable, and I think if there's somebody in the draft, it's not a bad thing to have just a couple young running backs who, are good. Kareem Jackson, Melvin Gordon, Bryce Callahan, you can only bring back 1, and I think that might actually be the case. And I'm not even sure if the Broncos are really interested in Bryce Callahan at this point. But if you, Will Keys the first, could have one of those guys, who you taking?
I think before we signed K1 Williams, I would have said Bryce Callahan. And now I think I would say Kareem Jackson.
I like that. I would probably
just based on the amount of dime that they're going to play this year to get Simmons, Jackson, and Stearns all on the field, and just there for depth in general. I think is, and we didn't see Kareem Jackson slow down really.
No, he's still the torpedo, man.
He is a human projectile out there.
Yeah, I think out of those 3, I would agree. Kareem. Give me Kareem. But again, you might be able to grab a nice safety in the second or third round of the draft. So it's
there's a lot of good safeties that, and they've talked about too, just kind of the possibility of moving up in the draft still from 64 where their first pick is.
Oh yeah.
But then again, there's good running backs that are going to fall into the middle rounds as well.
Yeah, every draft, there's a position that's going to fall disproportionately because there will be a run on another position. Now, at the very end of the second round, you're kind of in a weird spot. So they have 2 third-round picks, correct? So they could trade their second and maybe one of those third rounders to jump up in the second to grab a guy, because they traded up to get Javonte Williams last year, and that obviously was the correct move. So we could see it again. But the last thing I guess we could talk about is the Broncos are supposedly campaigning very hard to play in London because they play the Jags, right? And We don't know the schedule yet. We just know their opponents.
We know the opponents and the venue for for the most part.
I love that they want to do that, but I would prefer they not.
Interesting. Explain.
I don't. It's like, am I gonna have to get up at fucking 9 a.m. to watch a Broncos game?
You'll have to get up at 7 a.m.
I mean, well, I'll be up. I'm up like I have a baby. I am up between 6 and 7 every day. But am I going to have to start working at 9 a.m.? I don't like that. I think there's so many new things for the Broncos this season, as positive as it is getting, what we think, a new head coach, a new quarterback. I would prefer that the team doesn't have to deal with traveling to Europe as they gel. I don't think it has a huge effect. It's not like teams that go to London, it ruins their season or anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems like it just seems like a thing. And I don't want it.
You play a certain amount of games in London.
Sorry, Broncos Europe. I know you're going to get so pissed off if you hear this. Sorry, Michael. Sorry, Colin.
And yeah, it would be a great opportunity to connect with those guys. But you get an opportunity as well to get your London game like out of your system, because they're supposed to play the Falcons back in 2020, and that would have been a road game. It would have counted as a road game, and this would still count as a road game.
Oh, would it?
So yeah, so you're choosing Jacksonville or London. You're not choosing between Denver and London, which is big. So I think they want to get it out of the way now, so you don't have to revisit this in a year or whenever, to the point where you might have to sacrifice a home game, which would be pretty upsetting. And this is the year too where 17 games now. The Broncos got 9 home games and 8 away games last year. This year they're getting 8 home games, 9 away games. So is the rest of the AFC, of course. And maybe that'll help balance things out a little bit. But you're already traveling a pretty, sizable portion of the chunk of the earth to get to Jacksonville. It's another 5 hours to get to London. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, you feel good about playing the Jaguars just about anywhere. They're not a very good team currently, until proven otherwise. So I wouldn't say I'm in favor of it or against it. I think it is just merely I get where you're coming from in that, why throw that monkey wrench into what should be a win? But you're also going to have to play in London eventually, as stipulated by the National Football League. So let's get it out of the way.
Well, can they do Mexico City?
I think they can.
I'd much rather do Mexico City. It's even higher in elevation. We're the team most prepared to win there.
I agree. As long as no one, no Raiders fans shine a laser pointer into Russell Wilson's eye.
Yeah.
Then I feel good about that as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about the fire at the Mile High Stadium. That happened Thursday, right before Click.
Yeah, that just came and went in the news pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, stadium caught on fire, burned a couple sections, and we're moving on.
Yeah, everything's good now.
Anyway, now we have mentioned it. All right, well, we did a podcast. What?
We do have a little bit of news.
Oh, fudge.
Randy Gregory got surgery, and he's probably going to miss the off season.
Oh.
So it sounds like he did it to be back in time for the regular season, but
gotcha.
This could mean the Broncos might want to hedge their bets and add another edge guy, maybe in free agency, almost definitely in the draft.
Did it say what kind of surgery?
It's for his shoulder.
Let's
take a closer look here.
Give me the news.
Randy Gregory. Well, Twitter's taking a while to load.
Wow.
Anyway, arthroscopic surgery on his shoulder, so he's expected to be ready for the regular season per our friend Zach Stevens, but he is sidelined for the team's offseason workout program.
Okay.
So not terribly concerning, but
no. Broncos knew about it when they signed him.
Not great news
scope. Okay. Well, we'll see.
That's all we got.
All right. We did a podcast. You made it to the end. Congratulations. Guns don't kill people.
Russell Wilson kills people.
Murder.